that life is. It's not something that we have to get, it's something that we are. So we open to that which we are. We breathe it in, we accept it. We know that the entire universe conspires for our good to bless us this day and every day, so that this day and every day is the best day ever. And I know that we are in our perfect and right places, doing exactly what we need to do, learning what we need to learn, and implementing these ideas. The only thing that can happen is that the universe gives back to us. And so right here and right now, I claim for each and every one of us a life that is rich, a life that is abundant, a life that is blessed, because that is who we are. So, with great gratitude and thanksgiving for all that is ours now, I simply release this treatment into Divine Mind, and together we say,
and so it is.
Wonderful, wonderful. Come on in. David's going to set up some microphones. And my question is, this is class 2, so I'm wondering who was in class 1? That was something, wasn't it?
Yes.
How many people have never been in the summer prosperity classes before here? Okay, one of the things that we do in terms of structure is that we start the classes off with feedback from you. Because you're going to listen to me for 2 hours, tell you how you can have whatever it is you want to have, you can be whatever you want to be, you can do whatever you want to do. And when someone else that's sitting next to you gets up and says, oh yes, and by the way, this is what happened to me, it is amazing. So, I'm going to do that this class and give you an opportunity to either talk about whether or not you have already created increased income, to talk about your experience at the firewalk, or to talk about anything else that may be a blessing. And in particular, Rick, I want you to share what you shared with me in the doorway, because that's big and wonderful. But in order to do it, you're going to have to come around to the front. David's going to have a microphone hooked up in just a second, and we'll be able to hear everyone. So this is our time for personal testimonials about the power of science of mind, treatment work, affirmations, clearing your way of thinking, and how that has shown up in your life.
I don't think I need the microphone. This is hard for me to do. There are a lot of people in this room know what I'm going to bring up, but I came to the center about 3 years ago, and I'm not going to go into the whole story, but I had a dream. I've had a dream for 35 years. I hemmed and hawed with it. I played with it. And by coming to the center, I became empowered. I realized it was my time. I went to the firewalk in January. Again, I had been messing with this dream and left that firewalk and said, okay, now is my time. So long and the short of it, and I feel so great about it, is a year from now I will be going in the Peace Corps. It's been a 35-year dream for me. I'm not quite sure where yet. I have 3 final places that Peace Corps is telling me. That's Belize, Guyana, or Rwanda. I will go wherever they want. I've got other processes to do, but if it hadn't been for the center, I'd still be thinking about this dream and wouldn't be doing it. So that's my
Prosperity includes perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect happiness. And that means you get to do what you want to do in life. David, is this on?
It is.
Test, 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 test. Am I on?
Yeah.
Who else? Who's got something to share? Come up, stand in front of the mic so that people can hear you, and let it out. And you can make a line up here if there are a number of people who have things to share. Not saying that that won't happen tonight, but certainly as the weeks go on, the line just goes all the way to the back of the room of people waiting to share at the beginning of class. In the mic.
I have to do my Okay, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Darcy. Is this working? Okay. Last year I had a house up for sale, and I had to sell of my house in the purchase of the home because they found some problems with my old house. They found a leak in my oil tank, and I needed a radon system installed. So I spent a lot of money, told myself that I was gonna get all the repairs done, get the house painted, put it back on the market again this year and sell it for more than I had it on the market for last year. Well, I decided this year that I was gonna put a lot of faith and trust in the principles that I've been learning in the center. I feel like it's one thing to talk about things, it's another thing to learn them by putting them into action in your life. So I put my house back on the market and I found a new home before the old home sold. And I affirmed to myself that I was going to find the perfect and right buyer, that my old house was going to sell, and that I was going to move on into my new and better existence. Well, I named and claimed the new house and got the new house right away. They put me in front of every other potential buyer. 2 weeks from now, my old house is closing. I'm making more money on the sale of my old home than I did on my last for sale, and I found a better new house to move into. I always use these principles at work. I'm in sales, and I've been tithing on a regular basis. I never commit to any dollars because I don't want to limit myself, but so far year to date, I'm running 14% ahead versus last year and 6% for the year. So my income just continues to grow through this class, the principles, tithing, everything that I do here. So,
Yay! Marcy.
Hello, my name is Marcy. I've been going to the center off and on for, I don't know, almost 10 years. And Firewalk last week was my third and my hardest. And I came here expecting the prosperity class and build up to the Firewalk because it's too big for last. But I was shocked to find this form in front of me, and I was like, well, I've already watched it twice. I probably won't do it. But as you know, it beckons you, so I walked. What interestingly happened is my left foot was fine and my right foot had tender spots, which is kind of weird considering they're walking off the same temperature goals. And I feel like the left side is the left side is receiving and the right side is letting go. And I'm going through a lot of transition in my life, like emptiness and a relationship that's touch and go, and trying to figure out who I am with my business and everything. So when I went home, I did flower remedies and meditation and some ice, and my foot was fine the next day, but it was just really an interesting experience, and I'm looking forward to what the class holds. Thanks.
Welcome, Marcy.
I'm Mary Love, and this fire was really hot. I had little kiss spots on my right foot too. I love prosperity class because I was fine money, so I had $11 that just was laying on the ground. That was awesome. And this week, 2 things happened that was pretty amazing. So one lady flew in. She said, I need to buy a house this week, last weekend. We did. We're under contract on it. And then somebody else called me and said, this is what I want, 1, 2, 3 option. I want you to go over there, do a video, and we're going to buy whatever you say to buy.
This will be my 5th. Last year, my goal was to be debt-free, to be financially free. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I just knew that I was supported by the universe, and that everything that I ever needed or wanted was going to come to me. And also last year, we did a vision board. And on my vision board, I want to be out dancing, I want to have music, I want to have fun hiking in the woods. And in the middle of my vision board was I want to have a man in my life. And so all of that has come. And also for the first time in my life, I am financially free, debt-free.
Your house is paid off, your
My
car
house,
is
my
paid
car,
off.
all my bills, And also,
Wow.
money is coming from me from shocking places. I found a diamond ring in the toilet.
I normally don't get up in front of a big room of people that I don't know, and I don't know really any of you because I just started coming here, and I've only been to one Sunday meeting. But I felt like what I had to say was so important that I just got over it. So actually, 4 things that were pretty profound. I came to the fire walk. I had never done a fire walk. I walked on the fire. I learned a lot in the class. It was great. I came with my boyfriend. That was Sunday, of course. Monday, so I'm a writer, and it's not glamorous. It's actually really hard. And like, you know, you're just average struggling writer type. I work very hard to try to build something that's very hard to build. So on Monday, I've been kind of going back and forth with this editor for like 7 months, and I have not received my payment. And he finally, on Monday, I hadn't heard from him in months, but he finally emailed me saying why I hadn't gotten the payment and what I needed to do to get it, and that he would rush it to me. So I was really, really happy about that. The second thing that happened on Monday was that I was offered a job because someone saw a comment that I made on a blog. And they emailed me. They went to my website, they read about me, and they just emailed me and said, we want you to write for us. I still haven't decided if I'm going to. I'm not sure it's a good fit, but I am going to continue that conversation. So that's pretty unusual. So that was cool. There are 4 things. Okay, so the third thing, just really quick. My boyfriend enjoys this social activity, like he likes fire circles and drumming, okay? And it's really not my thing. And so when I go, which is not very often, but when I go, like, I just kind of sit there and try to enjoy it, and I just don't have a very good time. But I just went this last weekend, and I had like the best time ever. And I just decided that I was going to have a good time. So I did. But it felt really hard before last weekend. You know, it's like the smallest things. So the 4th thing is the best thing. It's definitely what is the profound thing to me. But I had a divorce about 5 years ago, and my daughter blamed me for it. Blamed me for everything, and if she was like 13, didn't want to speak to me, even though I was a single mom. You know, she went through a lot. She went through a lot, and in the course of her going through a lot and processing a lot, we became estranged, and I allowed her that because I told her I wouldn't force her to see me, to hug me, to say I love you, Mom, to whatever. And so, you know, it's been like, I haven't seen her 5 Christmases, 5 birthdays. Her choice, not mine. She went to go live with her dad. I allowed her to do that. She saw what a douchebag he was. She came home a year later, wanted to live with her aunt. I said, hey, Ariel, if you're good, if she's 16, I said, if you get good grades, you stay, you know, you make yourself happy, you take care of yourself, and I know that you're in a safe home, then you can choose where you live. All you've got to do is get good grades and stay out of trouble. Okay. So she's still not living with me. I'm like, this is my baby. Like, I was like your mother that, yeah. So very hard for me. Well, on Tuesday, I got a call from her aunt who she lives with, and they invited me to dinner, which hadn't happened ever, like since she moved in with her aunt, which has been a year. And my daughter interacted with me and wanted me to meet her boyfriend for really the first time in like 4 years, at least 4 years. And like I hadn't even seen her since last October. Nothing my choice. So it was quite a breakthrough. And I just, I thought some amazing things happened to me last week. So.
Many of you know me as the go-to car guy and everything. I've had a mobile repair and detailing business that I've done for many years. I'm transitioning into a totally different arena. My business is structured in a way to take advantage of a lot of real estate opportunities that are going on. We're working on a grant with HUD right now for $750,000, which is going to enable me to buy a piece of property and help the elderly have affordable housing. So HUD has decided to fast track my program, and I think he said between 90 and 120 days I'll have the funding.
Hi, I'm Chris. I am relatively new to this center, but started my transformation at a prosperity class in Denver, Colorado through Mile High Church about 4 or 5 years ago, where when I first came to this teaching, my mentor said, you can go to the ocean with a thimble, or you can go to the ocean with a bathtub, you can go with a swimming pool. And at that point, I decided that I would take nothing but just be a conduit through which my prosperity could flow, and it was very transformative. And we only can receive what we're ready to accept, and so that first year I got a promotion, a $20,000 raise, and I was comfortable with that. And then I went back to that class because it was a pretty good class. I got another promotion and another job offer that surpassed the first one, and I relocated to Oregon. And at that time, I continued to live very authentically to this teaching, and opportunities just continued to open up. And I learned about Asheville and knew I was called to be here, and I had a pause in my life as a nursing administrator and decided to follow my dream in my heart, which was to open a restaurant. So I came to Asheville knowing nothing but where the center was located and chose to live within 2 miles of the center, and now have a restaurant, which was absolute demonstration. I had no financing, I had no contacts, nothing, and so please visit me. I'm up around the corner at the Artisan Restaurant. But I've also learned to utilize my resources in this teaching, turning to Barbara and Christy and people who can sometimes help me get out of my own way and stop the block of the flow. So it has been an absolute, this restaurant has been an absolute demonstration of what Spirit can do if you simply step out of the way and allow and release into the universe what your intention is.
Okay, Chris.
Okay, so I wasn't at the class last week, but such good things have been happening, and it's all because of center stuff that I just felt like I really wanted to share it. This is my 3rd prosperity class, and if I didn't already say it, my name's Katie, for everyone who's new here. So I'll just go through the list. Well, first of all, I started working with Lynn, doing regular treatment work with her, which was a huge breakthrough for me, just in the sense that I'd always assumed that I needed to do everything on my own. So getting support has been major for me, just accepting that support, which has opened the floodgates for many other things. I am now operating a business that I wanted to operate for 8 years, which is doing group facilitation work, coaching, and speaking and retreats. I just launched my sales funnel and now have 15 people in the pipeline to do, if you want to talk to me about coming to my retreats. And I found a retreat center after looking at like 50 that met all my needs, and is about half of the price of what I budgeted for the retreat. So.
Hello, I'm Nancy, and I just had a very wonderful weekend doing what I love. I teach Tai Chi, and I got a scholarship to go spend all weekend doing Tai Chi. And I had a free transportation, and somebody bought me ice cream for my birthday, and coffee, and so it was just a lovely abundance of doing, living my passion, and the fruit of life shows up.
Hi, I'm Kathy, and some of you already know the story, but I moved up here to help my daughter. We just had a baby. And I'm taking care of my grandchildren. And I was a reflexologist, and I kind of gave up my practice to come here, so I was really worrying all the time about money. And this is my second class, and it took me a long time, but it finally got there. And I learned to trust, and I kind of gave up all my fears. And I had worked for a company about 30 years ago, and I got hurt on the job, and I didn't think anything of it, and I got a letter saying that I'm getting a pension for the rest of my life from
Wow. This is a bit of a short notice, but I went to the fire walk, and which I've been, this is the third time I've done it. And the first time was smashing. It was a big success, and I was thrilled. And I felt nothing on my feet, and I strolled through the flames, and nothing happened. And so I was thrilled. So, but then the second time, I thought to myself, oh, I was so brilliant last year. This is a piece of cake. I remember thinking a piece of cake, and I started strolling through the ashes, and I really got burned very badly. So that was really dumb. Somebody said that was my ego that had controlled myself for a second. So this is the third time, and I thought to myself, well, I'm not good. I thought to myself, I'm going to go and socialize and lend support to everybody. So I went, and I had no intention of walking, none. So I was standing there, and so 3 or 4 men just sort of, strolled through the flames with great strength, and then nobody else, and no women were there, and that really killed me. So I was standing in the spectators area, and so I switched ends, and I went and I stood there, and I thought, oh, and I had actually thought about what I wanted to, say to myself to get me through the flames, sort of a thing to walk toward. And so when just as I was starting to walk, I forgot what it was. So I just went anyway, and I just had a very peculiar experience that my feet were just quite toasty, but comfortable. So I must have gotten a little ember somewhere, because one of my toes burned a little, but that was all, just a small burn. So I don't understand the fire walk, but.
Hi, my name's Chuck, and I'm a recovering Episcopal. And, I've been coming to the center for about 12 years, and in 2002, my wife and I came to the first prosperity course, and things started getting better for us. So to make a very long story short, each year we've just made more money than we've been here. Last week, on Tuesday, after the firewalk, which I did not walk, but I attended, I got a check that's worth twice my weekly salary. So just out of the blue, unexpected income, because I'm here. Thank you.
Anybody else? So this is a taste of what we do. And what we do is we change our level of acceptance. Because it's not like we have to go out and find the good that is for us. It's stacked up. Would you try that one for me? Oh, thank you. It's stacked up all around us, and we're the ones literally holding it back. It's as if we live our lives and monitor how many times a minute we can take a breath. Think about it. Take a breath. Oh, I can't take another breath. You know, I'm only allowed to take a breath every 10 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever. I've got to wait until I can take another breath, not realizing that we can take as many breaths as we want because there's plenty of air to breathe. And that we are the ones who decide how often we can breathe. I remember when I was a kid, my beads are running. I remember when I was a kid and I would hyperventilate and then hold my breath and make myself pass out. It was should have been an early clue that drugs were going to be an issue. But we can breathe as much as we want, and we can have as much as we want. And I love playing with money because I can count money, but money is the means to an end. To be able to go to the Peace Corps, to be able to see your daughter, to be able to have those experiences in life is so important. And so if we're using money as an excuse to not have that, then we need to get rid of that excuse because it is not a valid excuse. The only reason that we don't have the experiences that we want in life is because we have some kind of a story inside of us that says, I can only breathe a certain number of times a minute. I can only have this much money. I can only receive it from this place. And so when we use money as a way to hold ourselves back and keep ourselves small, I like to just take that issue away from you and teach you how to have all the freaking money you want to have in your life. She found a diamond ring with not just one diamond. How many diamonds were in there? Five diamonds stuck in a toilet of a house she bought that had been there for years.
3.5 years.
3.5 years.
And it wasn't my ring, it wasn't my mother's ring.
It came with the house. Yes. So when we take away the idea that says I can't do this, I can't be this, I can't experience this because I don't have the cash to do it, then we're really left with the true issues. Do I feel like I deserve to live the life that I want to live? Or have I created a belief system that says life is meant to be a struggle, that I'll never really get what I want, and I'm just going to have to put up with it until I die? And if you have that kind of a belief system, I guarantee you that it will change in this room, in this center, or you will have to leave. Not that anyone will make you leave, but that you will be so uncomfortable with all these other people sharing their good news and you don't have any, that you will find a way to go somewhere else. Or you can stay here and get your own good news. Because money is piled up around you. It is piled up around you. We have our own North Carolina, was it Powerball? Powerball lottery winner in the summer prosperity class right here. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you did not, they had that ticket printed out when you walked up there. The woman has the printed out and said, here is your ticket. Yes, that happened, right? Good, because it's been so many years and I've told that story so many times, I want to make sure I haven't embellished it. When he walks into the drugstore on Smoky Park Highway or on Patton Avenue and Leicester Highway, and the woman at the lottery place has the ticket printed out and says, here is your ticket, gives it to him in the last class of the prosperity class. And he won. So money is looking for you. All you have to do is stop running from it. You stop running from it by living a life that will keep you going in the direction that you want to go, so that when that voice inside of you says run, you have the discipline and the wherewithal to say, no, I will stay the course. It may look like I remember that, your house sale fell through, you had all of these heavy equipment problems, dig up your yard problems, and then the house that you wanted, that you had your heart set on, you didn't get. And so there was this opportunity to go into all is lost, things aren't working, this science of mind stuff doesn't work, or you could stay the course and say, I'm going to continue to know that I have a wonderful house, that this house is sold, even though it's a mess right now with big digger things in the yard, and I'm going to know that everything is working out for my best, and then it does. But what happens so often, and I don't know about you, but I love this book, Think and Grow Rich. I love it because one of the things that I'm known for is if you come to see me, you better not whine, and sooner or later my foot's going to be at your butt. People call me and say, I need a Barbara foot. And what he says is, don't falter. And he gives us all of these stories 3 feet away from the gold, and the guy quit, you know? And the person who bought the material for junk hired someone who said, no, there's gold 3 feet from here. And then, you know, millions and millions of dollars, the things that people have done to go out on a limb, to risk, to keep working, to not be afraid of going after something. And Dwight, correct me if I'm wrong, but you bought Vincenza's when you were at the other Science of Mind Center in practitioner class, didn't you? I remember that because Ellen was coming to the center and she was telling me about you and I didn't know you. So here, if you had been afraid, you never would have stepped out to buy that restaurant. What I love about this book is that it says, yes, you can do this, and you have to do it. This is not airy-fairy metaphysics where you're going to sit on the couch and just ohm your way into money falling on top of you. It says that there will be certain steps along the way that if you take them, and if you continue to go in that direction, wonderful things will happen in your life. Whether they look exactly like you thought they were going to look, or whether they look better, doesn't really matter. You end up saying, my life is so wonderful. You end up being able to live the dream that you want to live. And so in this class, what we do is we come together every summer and we say, first of all, let's take the issue of money off the table. So we're going to create money out of nowhere. Doesn't that sound like fun? Yes. I want you to know that people in this class have literally had money fall out of the sky. People say, oh, money can't fall out of the sky. Google it. All over the world, money falls out of the sky. I don't know if it's because the universe doesn't understand a no, and so when you say money doesn't, the universe hears money falls out of the sky. No airplanes, no bridges, no trees, no helicopters, money falls out of the sky. So what we do is we create that which we want to experience. But it's developing this idea that says, yes, we can. I can do anything I want. There's an energy that starts to happen to me. It happened when I was going to move that piano. Ron LaPointe called and said, I got a piano. And if I want it moved quickly, and fine, I got a mover. The mover was at his door, 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning to move that piano and bring it over here. And Ron said, I don't feel good about this person at all. So I said, great, cancel the mover. I'm done, I'm busy. Ron called back on Friday and said, oh my God, you gotta get this piano out of here. I said, no, I had a mover at your door. I had a mover at your door, I did my part. He said, no, I gotta get rid of this piano. It's gotta move out of my house right now, like today. I can do this. Now, I could have gone into that victim mentality that said, well, I did my part and you messed it up. I'm not trusting the movers. Chances are the movers would have crashed his piano, and maybe it was a really good thing. But I could have gone there, or I could say, well, this is just the next thing for me to do. So Nancy put an email out to 1,000 people asking for help moving the piano. A couple of people responded, one of whom couldn't do it. I put a post on Facebook. Hey, Facebook friends, who wants to help me move a piano? Call U-Haul. They don't have piano dollies. Who in the world has a piano dolly? Found the dolly, got people together. One person was coming here, she thought to cut the grass. No, you're coming to help me. Oh my God, how do we get the piano out of the house? How do we get it in the truck? Ron, you are, or Dan, you are one of the strongest people I have ever met in my life. He lifted that piano, walked it around the corner, it's still balanced on Ron LaPointe's deck, and set it in his truck. And then it was just a matter of lifting the other end up and kind of working it in the truck, and presto chango, we had a piano to move. Every time life shows up with a, oh my God, what am I going to do? This is big. How do I do it just like that? How do I just pull things out of thin air just like that? There's something inside of us that we can grab hold of and make anything happen that we want. We can have money come in, we can have things show up, we can have houses sell. Mary, somebody calls you and says, just send me a video and I'll buy whatever you think I should buy. Somebody else says, I'm closing on a house at the end of the weekend. I want to buy one now. Those things are looking for all of us. And it's when we can open up to this idea that says, I deserve to have that kind of life. What I'm going to so love watching in you, Cynthia, is how you see your life gets easier. How you see that your writing gets easier and your life gets easier. Because oftentimes we come into our spiritual explosion very burdened. And that's what makes us willing to let the old life go. Sometimes we have to create, you ever do that in a relationship? You know it's time to go and you don't go because you're chicken to go. And so what you do is you create these terrible experiences. You can make a perfectly nice person go out and have an affair on you just so that it gets so painful that you can't stay there anymore, so that you'll be willing to do what you needed to do from the beginning. And then life gets easier. So what we're going to do in this class is create money. Are you in?
Yes.
How many people in the past have created money out of thin air? It's wonderful. It is so exciting. So I want to recommend to you that during this process in class, that if you get an envelope, that you get clear. Especially if it's an envelope from the bank, because bank envelopes and IRS envelopes and things like that, they're vague and nebulous until you create them into solid form. So you either can get an envelope from the IRS that says you're getting audited or that it's got a refund check in it. It's totally up to you. So if you get something like that, just take a moment and get clear and say, well, Barbara says I can turn this into a refund check, and I really believe that because all of these wonderful things are happening to other people and I'm just as good as they are. And she says the universe is really just looking for me to give me money, so I'm going to breathe that in and let that be okay, and now I'm going to open up my envelope. Does that make sense? Yes. Good, good. One of the ways that we do this is we have a program during the summer. It's called the Increased Income Program, and it is a lot of fun because we get to chant this affirmation over and over and over again and open up the doorways to have money come into our lives. Not only do we get to do it, but we get to capitalize on the energy of everybody else in the class, and frankly, the energy of everybody who's ever done it before. There are thousands of people affirming your financial prosperity every time you say your affirmation. Another cool thing that happens with this is that the part that you fill out and sign, which you're going to have an opportunity to do, I touch. Now, I don't know if you believe that. Put your hands on the television and let it bless you. But there is something to that. There is something to the idea that I hold this stack that has your name on it in my hands and know that money pours into your life. There's that oneness thing. It's not a hokey thing, it's a oneness thing. And so John, or if John's in town, I will hold that stack and know with you that money shows up in your life. Everybody else in the class is affirming that money shows up in your life, and you are affirming that money shows up in your life, and you're opening up to this greater possibility by allowing yourself to see clearly how you want your life to be. So often we have dreams and, what's his name? Napoleon Hill says that the first thing that you've got to do is to have a desire, a burning desire, an all-consuming desire, so that you won't flake out on it. It's got to be important enough for you to have a new home that you will not be turned away by the fact that everything just fell apart. It's got to be important enough for you to go to the Peace Corps that you're focusing on it year after year after year. I mean, some people would look at you, Rick, and say, aren't you a little old to go to the Peace Corps? Is that something people do in their 20s?
Some people have.
And you're saying, no, this is my lifelong dream. I've never let go of it, and now it's happening. So what we do is we create this idea, and then we fund it. And it's wonderful. It's so exciting. Then, once you have plenty of money, you've got to look at yourself. Because just because you have money doesn't mean things go away. For that matter, once you get the excuse of money out of the way, then you can look at yourself and go, okay, it's not about money anymore. What is it? What do I need to do? Do I need to look at who I am, in terms of the child that I was? Do I need to do some releasing, some reevaluating, some forgiveness work about that? Do I need to look at these deep sense of self-worth and whether or not I really believe that there's a power and a presence inside of me, or is there really an outside God that's just out to get me, and that at the last minute everything that I want is going to be taken away? What do I need to look at inside of myself to open up to a greater acceptance of what life has for me? Because life is chasing you down. And the only way to stay poor is to run really, really fast. So if you slow down just for a moment to smell a rose, chances are life is going to catch up to you and all of this great stuff will happen. 5-diamond ring in the toilet. It's just amazing to me. But this is my sister, so the consciousness is amazing. Her husband made his transition. There was some concern about her well-being, and a hawk flew over her house at the same time that she was driving her riding lawnmower and dropped a live fish in front of her. It was still flapping. She took it inside, filleted it, cooked it, and ate it. Said, thank you very much. I was down there helping her helping move my mom up here, and we were loading the big truck. You know how that is when you're moving. You get the big truck out front, and you're loading it up, and we heard a noise, and we went outside, and a car had driven by, and in the yard was a square Tupperware container with the lid nice and sealed on it. And inside of the Tupperware container were skewers of marinated shrimp ready for the barbie. Chilled. We waited for a little while to see if someone was going to drive back, realizing that maybe they put it on their top of their car or something and took off, and it flew off into her yard. But they never did, so we cooked it and ate it. And said thank you. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. We've had people in this class, one of my favorite stories, just because I'm pretty sure it was drug money, was somebody walking through Montfort, and for no reason at all looked under a bush. And there was a brown paper bag stuffed with cash. They said, thank you very much. And they took it. It probably went to much better use in their hands than where it was going to go. Anything can happen If you think you're on a limited or fixed income, as Edwin Gaines would say, you are the only one who fixed it. Life does not limit you. Life is chasing you down to give you whatever it is you want. So in this class, we create money. And we create money, everybody's gonna get money. Everybody in this class is going to get money from some place. Now, how much you get is totally up to you. You can get a pension that goes for life. Where's Kathy? A pension for the rest of your life from a business you haven't worked for 30 years. Oh, by the way, here's your first pension check. What? You can have people give you money. You can have people want to buy stuff from you. You can have people hire you for stuff. You can win the lottery. You can find money. We've had old hospital bills audited, and the hospital sends a refund check. And this is for hospital bills 10 years ago. Here's a check in the mail, and it just happened to come on the prosperity class. We have countless numbers of people who receive IRS refund checks from years gone by. So when you watch the news about Lois Lerner and the IRS, don't buy into that. They've got money for you. You think loving thoughts to them and keep that doorway open, that God is in the IRS, that you are a free and open channel to have money come in from everywhere, because in this class, people are going to get IRS refunds. You're going to get more money than you thought for something. Money is going to happen. Money is going to happen, and then we can look at what are we doing to live the life that we want to live. How are we being great? How are we doing our dream, our desire, our vision? How are we living that now that we have money showing up in our lives? So, is there anyone in the room that doesn't want to have more money? Because having more money will ask you to change. You cannot be the same person you are right now and be the person who has more. You must be willing to let go of who you are today. And one of the things, and I just love Napoleon Hill's list. I love lists. Give me a list. One of the things that you've got to change is the way you see life. And he's talking in a little bit old-time language, but he says you've got to stop criticizing people. You've got to stay in that energy of love. You've got to stop complaining about things. You've got to stop looking at what's not working and hold your vision steady to what it is you want to have happen in your life. And you've got to stop being lazy. There are so many people who think, well, I just want to do an affirmation and then have this wonderful business show up, or, I don't even want to go through the business phase. Just give me the billion. What is that song? I want to be a billionaire. I want to be a billionaire. I won't use the expletives. But there are so many people that look at people who have generated a lot of money and they forget that they worked their butts off to get that money. So I'm not saying that life is hard and a struggle, but you have to be willing to do something. And what we're going to start off with is our increased income program. So, help me pass these out. Take one, pass it down. We're going to go over these. And again, if you don't want to do this, that's really fine. I have no problem with someone saying, I don't want to have money. As long as you don't do it too close to me. Right, because it's difficult to stay around me. People who get mad at me and say, oh, she's just too positive, she's just too happy, I just can't deal with her, she's too intense. That's somebody who wants to stay small, and you can't stay small around me. I just won't let you, my energy won't let you. I will see you as a magnificent, powerful, glorious being that has everything in their life that they choose to have. And so if you want that, this is a good place for you. And if you don't, you will find your own way out. This is the very first sentence in his book, this quote. Truly, thoughts are things. and powerful things at that, when they are mixed with definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into riches or other material objects. The first thing that he says is, truly, thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. So whatever things you have in your life, you have because of the thoughts that you have in your head. And if you want to have something different in your life, you have to have a different thought. And he goes on to say that you've also got to put in there definiteness of purpose. You have to have an idea. You've got to have persistence. You can't be a wimpy metaphysician and expect money to show up. And you have to have a burning desire for that. You've got to let yourself want, and so many people don't want. I remember when Rocking Bear was here, and he would answer the phone, when he decided we wanted to talk to him. He didn't have an answer machine. He said, you know, we had an answer machine once, and people expected us to call them back, so we threw it away. So he would answer the phone, he wouldn't say hello, he would say, what do you want? He had about 3 seconds before he would just hang up the phone. Because he's not going to do that. So what do you want? I have people come to see me and say, what do you want? Well, I don't know. Oh, yes, you do. You absolutely know what you want. The problem with accepting what you want is that you have to deal with the fact that you don't have it. You want something because you don't have it yet. But this idea that says, I want a man in my life, I want a better job, I want a restaurant. I want to have a restaurant, that's what I want to do. I want to go to the Peace Corps. I want to have a race car. I want this, I want that. As soon as you give voice to it, you've brought it to life. And once it comes to life, it will haunt you until you do something to have it. You don't get off the hook when you have a life purpose, a burning desire, a vision of who you are. Once you let that out, you're going to have to do something about it. So most people don't allow themselves to want. Because once you want, you're on the hook for it. It's not going to let you go, especially if it's big. It's going to keep you up at night. It's going to ask you to do things like move to a different town, like be with someone. It's going to ask you to be a different person than the person who doesn't have it. So the first thing is that Napoleon Hill talks about in his book is this idea of having a burning desire. And when you have that burning desire, you're actually, I like the burning part, because that's giving life to it. You know, it's the light of spirit that's radiating out of that desire. And what in the world does desire mean? I love the word desire. Desire. It's of the Father. Anytime you have a desire, it's of the Father. It's spirit-given. Spirit's whispering in your ear. Get a restaurant. Fall in love. Buy those shoes. Spirit talks to me all the time. Buy those shoes. Buy those shoes. Go online and get them all. So when you have a desire and you're willing to step up and match it, things happen. Sometimes things happen that look great, and sometimes things happen that look like everything's falling apart. But part of the falling apart puts you in a position to have what you want. Truly, Darcy is better off because she went through that year. She has a better house, and she got more money for her old house. But she didn't know that a year ago. All she knew was that everything had fallen apart. So when we allow ourselves to want, when we allow ourselves to commit to ourselves by committing to the life that we want to live, it asks us to change. And when we allow ourselves to go through that change, to stand up spiritually straight and tall, everything that we need to have that show up happens. And in this program, we direct it as money. Now, it's not just going to be money, but you will have money in your life. Money will show up. You'll be lined up here talking into that microphone, talking about how money showed up. You'll go, you'll never believe it. The class will say, oh, yes, we will. Oh, yes, we do. And that's why you have it, because you're willing to move into belief. So here we go. Truly, thoughts are things. your Think and Grow Rich program. Is it 36 days? Yeah. There's 6 classes, so it's 5 weeks and 1 day. 5 times 7 is 35, and 1 day is 36. Let me just get that out there so everyone understands the math. Between today and the last class is 36 days. This 36-day program explores a new way of living prosperously by providing methods for moving from scarcity and limited thinking to a life filled with possibility and abundance. Do you want a life filled with possibility and abundance?
Yes.
Good. As a member of this Think and Grow Rich program, you are being given the opportunity to express great personal power by authentically committing to the following actions for the next 36 days. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Attending all classes in this Think and Grow Rich program. Show up. Life doesn't happen if you don't show up. Show up. Oh, well, I could go to the movies. The movies will come out on video. Show up to class. Practicing daily the prosperity principles you are learning to embody. Do the homework. Tithing your time and talent. That means giving out to life. Volunteer. Give your gift. If you know how to reset a modem and your neighbor's modem is out, go fix it for them. Give your talent. Give your time. Set the universe in motion. Tithing 10% of your income to Center for Spiritual Living, Asheville. Now, this is where people often falter. They say, I don't have any money and I'm not going to give any away. Well, that's why you don't have any. Because when you allow yourself to give it out, the universe multiplies it and gives it back. Reciting your treatment for prosperity multiple times each day with deep meaning and intention. That means you are going to have this treatment memorized by next class. Yes, you are. It's not that long. Most of us who have been in class before say this in our sleep. So what you're going to do is you're going to commit to live a life that creates money. This is my pledge, and this is where, if you want to be part of this program, you will fill it out, sign it, and tear it off. As a member of this Think and Grow Rich program, I give my personal and authentic promise to take the following actions for the entire 36 days of this program. You're not taking time off. It's only 36 days. You don't need time off. I will attend all classes in this Think and Grow Rich program. I will set aside time every day to reflect on the prosperity principles I am learning to embody and practice. I will tithe my time and talent. I will tithe 10% of my income to Center for Spiritual Living, Asheville. I will recite my prosperity treatment multiple times each day with clear intention that this is absolutely so. And if you want to be a part of this program, you will sign this bottom line. If you want to, you don't have to. We are not coming to your door. Put your name, your address, and your email and phone number on there. There's something that happens to you when you sign your name to a commitment. You set law in motion. You change yourself. And if you're going, oh my God, I don't know if I can do that, great, let that person go. Let that person go. Of course you can do this. And of course you can create money in your life. You can be the person that has the money fall out of the sky. You can be the person that the IRS tracks down to give you a refund. You can be the person that gets in one gift twice as much money as you would make in a week. Be that person. So if you want to be part of the program, fill it out, tear it off. Have you done it? Yes. Does anybody need more time? Then before we take our break, I've got to ask you if you're ready. Yes. Are you ready to have more money than you know what to do with? Yes. Are you ready to have everything that seems to not work out end up working out for the best? Yes. Are you ready to do what you want to do? Yes. Are you ready to go where you want to go? Yes. Are you ready to buy what you want to buy? Yes. Are you ready to have so much money that you've got to hire people to manage it for you? Yes. Get up out of your chairs and we will say our increased income and prosperity together aloud. I, Barbara, know that God is the source of all supply and that money is God in wonderful. If you don't, it's on our website as a free download. And our website is cslasheville.org. And on there it says free downloads. And then it has books. And then you look down a list and it says Think and Grow
It's like that if you see it on.
So you can go to our website and get a free download of the book, or you can go to Barnes & Noble and get it for, $4.95. It's not an expensive investment. I definitely relate to people who say, I want to feel paper. So that's fine, but get the book, because it's a really good book, and we are going to be going over it. I've got a reading assignment list for you, for those of you who like to know what's coming. So last week, class 1, we did chapter 15. It's all about fear. Good. Tonight is class 2, and your very flippant reading assignment that I gave while I was kind of leaning against the wall after the fire walk was chapters 1 and 2. And then next week will be 3, 4, and 5. The week after that is 6, 7, and 8. And then the week after that is 9 and 10. And then we've got 11 and 12 and 13 and 14. This is not right, is it? Yes, it is. So just read it. It's an easy read. It's an easy read. But one of the important things about it is he really does tell you to do stuff, and you're going to want to do that because this is part of his formula of all of these people that he interviewed that went from, we just think people were born rich. We don't realize that people were starting from basically nothing and creating steel industries and railroads and giant companies and lots of money that would go for generations. We don't understand that everybody is just like us and we are just like them. And so we have that same opportunity to demonstrate and manifest and create in our lives, but there are things that people did that ended up with them having millions and millions of dollars. So we're going to start with some of those things that they did. And the first thing that Napoleon talks about, he and I are on first name basis now, is your money desire. So you're going to take one of these and pass them back. And this is not a goal. This is saying, this is how much money I want. I have wanted since I was a child $1 million. I don't know why I wanted $1 million. Probably because I watched that TV show called The Millionaire. Yes. I want $1 million. And so I'm going to put down on this $1 million. Now, I know that my consciousness right now is not in a position that I'm going to have $1 million by next week. Maybe I will, but chances are it's going to take me longer to do that. But I really know that if I want to have $1 million, and there are religious science ministers that have $1 million, it's not that far-fetched. We are prosperity teachers. If I want to have that, I can have that. So that's what I'm going to write down. You may write down that you want to have $10,000 by January. You might write down that you want to have your house paid off. When Margaret was stating that she wanted to be debt-free, she didn't have a clue. She had a lot of debt. I know her. She had a lot of debt. And she's saying, I want to be debt-free. And I'm going, wow, lot. And here she is, everything paid off, everything.
With money in the bank.
With money in the bank and money coming in. So what is it that you want? It's not good or bad or right or wrong, it's an exercise. But if you put down a number and you don't feel good about it, check yourself out. Is it too little? Is it too big? What is it that you really want? Now, you're not supposed to know how it's going to happen. You don't know how it's going to happen. This is not figured out yet. This is where some of these activities and this idea of faith comes in. But what I want you to do is just take a moment. Maybe everyone can just close their eyes. And there is a right amount of money for you. And you know what it is. So right here and right now it reveals itself to you and you know what it is. And you can open your eyes. Write it down on your paper. Nobody's going to look at your paper. Yes, Barbara.
When you say money, I think in terms of net worth, like, okay,
I
my
want-
investments, my house, you talking about all that added together?
No, I want liquid assets.
Yes, okay.
I want cash.
Okay.
I mean, I'm well on my way to $1 million in assets. I want cash.
Okay.
I do. I just want it. I just want it, just like a parking space at the mall at Christmas. I just want what I want. And you helped me with that, Dan. When I went into that room and said, I really want to see carpet on this floor. And you said, well, then I'm sure it will happen. And I thought, he's right. He's right. I can have what I want to have, period, end of story. So then, because it's not a one-way street, you're not sitting on a couch and money is just falling on your lap, what are you going to give? What are you going to give to have that money? What are you going to give? I am going to give for the next 10 years my undivided attention and love and commitment to this center and to everyone who asks me to teach them what I know. That's what I'm going to give. That's what I've got. I'm going to give it without reservation. I'm not going to say, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, that person's just here for the very first time and they want an appointment, they want an hour of my time. Well, I'm Barbara Waterhouse. I'm not sure I'm going to give an hour of my time. No, I'm going to give an hour of my time. I'm going to step up when life calls me. I'm going to give out what I've got. I'm going to give my genius. I'm going to live my genius. And I figure I've got another good 10 years in me till I hit 70 and I maybe want to go just part-time a little bit. But until then, it's all guns ahead. All systems go. What are you going to give?
Need.
And then come up with a date. I intend to possess this money by. God, you're going to be saying, I heard her say it. I was there when she claimed that money. Yeah. Oh, you knew what happened to Barbara Waterhouse? Yeah, and I was there, and I watched it happen. It was electric. When is it going to be? And what is your action plan? Mine is to stop thinking I'm overworked. Thinking I'm overworked is poison. I love what I do. I love it. Granted, I need to go to the beach every 8 weeks and sleep. But other than that, I love what I do. I love it. I go home after this class, I can't sleep. I'm wired. I'm excited. What am I going to do? I'm going to give up thinking that I'm overworked. What am I going to do? I'm going to see every person in my life as a prosperous, abundant, powerful being. I'm going to give up this idea that we're the cool kids. The Baptists are the cool kids too. Yeah. Yeah. Billy Bob, cool kid too. So what is your action plan? And then sign it and date it and you keep it. I would put it up somewhere where I could see it. Put it up on a mirror, put it up on the wall. I drive John crazy in my office because I tape things to the wall. Or I have these beautiful, beautiful watercolor paintings, they're huge. And I'm always taping things to the glass, you know? And he comes and says, not tape on your artwork, but that's where I want to see it. I want to see that more than I want to see this painting. So I tape something on there. What are you going to do with it? Don't fold it up. God, don't throw it away. Do something with it. And does anybody need a pen? Thank you, Nancy, for going up to get it. Do you need a pen? Ben? Ben's got the pens. What? You're hot. So this is.
What you might give in the action plan.
Well, I don't care.
Okay.
What it is that this is a reciprocal universe. You know, we don't just, and this is some, I don't know about this teaching. Sometimes we tend to attract people who are just lazy. They just want to come in and, oh, I guess this mental science stuff means I don't have to do anything, so give me an affirmation and don't bother me. It doesn't work that way. For you to change your life and change your experience takes a lot of effort. So it's a reciprocal thing. You're going to have to give out something. And you may change what you give. But for right now, this is what we're writing. Does anybody have any questions?
Not specifically on this form, I just have a question.
Go ahead.
You have a better way of saying debt-free than using the word debt.
You mean because I'm talking about Margaret? Those were her words.
No, not, totally forget about that, just.
Everything's paid. Everything's paid off. I have the title. I got the title to the car, I got the title to the boat, I've got the title to all 3 houses, I've got the title. It's mine, I've got the title. I have more than enough money, I have money stacked up. That's my phrase. I have money stacked up all around me. I drive John crazy because I just leave $100 bills lying around. I have money everywhere.
Come to your house.
What? Stacked up. So does everybody have it? Everybody's got it filled out? Fill it out. This is your moment. If you don't fill it out right now, you're not going to. So if you're not going to, you might as well just make peace with the fact that you're going to be broke for the rest of your life, and you're not going to be happy here. It's true. I started off my last class telling people to shut up and grow up. It was really quite effective.
I only saw one guy drive off.
I don't care. Everybody who's around me is around me by right of consciousness. If you are around me, you are covered in the umbrella of my consciousness. You are going to heal, you are going to prosper, and you are going to thrive. You can't help it. I've gotcha. That's like a tractor beam, you're stuck. Yes. Is everybody done with that? Because I have another handout for you. We had to do the green page before the golden, the pumpkin page, because the first step was what we just did. So this is straight out of the book, and I want you to have it because he says you have to commit this to memory and practice it every day. So I thought I'd give it to you, because I know there are some people here who don't even have the book yet. So I want to make sure you have this, and we're going to go over it. He says, these are the 6 steps, that if you do these 6 steps, you're going to have money. You're going to have lots of money. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, I want plenty of money. Be definite as to the amount. There is a psychological reason for definiteness, which will be described in a subsequent chapter. How's that for a teaser? 2, Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There is no such reality as something for nothing. 3, establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. Now that doesn't mean that it's not going to come before that, but you are giving a specific direction to law. It's not airy-fairy someday, and someday means no day. 4, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not to put this plan into action. If you wait until you're ready, if you were ready, you would have already gotten it. So you're not going to be ready. Don't wait till you're ready. That's an excuse. You got to step out on faith. You got to step into the abyss. And sure enough, you'll either have something catch you or you'll grow wings, one or the other. 5, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. You just did that. Read your written statement aloud twice a day. Now here you've got your treatment for prosperity, which you're going to repeat multiple times a day. You're going to read this written green statement at least twice a day, once before retiring at night, and once after arising in the morning. And as you read, see, and feel, and believe yourself already in possession of the money. See it, feel it, believe it. Do you remember the story of Jack Canfield in The Secret? Jack Canfield was a speaker, but he was not a famous speaker. He was not even a well-trained speaker. What was he making? $8,000 a year? Whoop-de-doo. He took a check, wrote $1 million on it, and taped it, gotta love tape, taped it to the ceiling of his bedroom, so when he awakened in the morning, that's what he saw. A check for $1 million to Jack Canfield. He said, in a year, I'm gonna have $1 million. He had 992,000, went from 8,000 to $992,000. And then he sold Chicken Soup for the Soul. You know, he tried to sell that book to everybody under the sun. He would laugh and say, people would come up to me and say, oh, you should have given it to me. I would have published it. And he said, no, I asked you and you turned me down. So then the little company that decided, not little anymore, decided to take a chance on a feel-good book, wrote the first $1 million check they had ever written out. So he got the $1 million check, he got the $992,000. What you do is you move into that state of belief and acceptance, you live it, you act as if, you start feeling rich, you start speaking rich. Do not ever say you cannot afford something. Do not ever tell your children you can't afford it. Truth be known is you're just not going to buy it for them. So they can scream and yell all they want. It's your money, and you're not going to spend it on them. Take ownership of that. Tell them the truth, not, oh, I can't afford to buy you that. You wouldn't buy it for them if you had the money in your pocket. So just be honest about it. And then what happens is you bring them to Science of Mind, and they learn how to demonstrate it themselves. We had a 12-year-old saved up enough money to buy a car. He was early. 12 years old, he had the money for his new car as soon as he got that license in 4 years. He'll be on the road. His mantra was, money's easy. Money's easy. So this is what you're going to go over every day. And this green paper, this is what you're going to read. You're going to keep it by your bed. Don't take it somewhere else and then say, oh, I can't read it before I go to sleep because I don't have it. Barbara.
For the metaphysical readings I've always heard, we need to just be really clear on the what and focus on the what. And then with the how, take inspired action.
Right, and he talks about that.
Okay.
He says once you open up, you're going to get ideas.
Okay.
And he says if you get ideas, you need to act on them. You need to do something. Pardon me?
The plan would be the how. So that's where the inspired ideas take form in the plan.
They can take form, yes, yes, and your how may change.
Right.
What takes you down one street may turn the corner and take you down another. Yes, Ben?
I had a question about that. Does the action plan have to make sense?
No.
Okay.
No.
Good.
No, my action plan was to stop telling myself that I'm overworked and I'm tired. My action plan was to commit to see every person I see every day as a magnificent, rich, spiritual being. To see that, because I gotta tell you, sometimes, somebody cuts me off in traffic or just does something stupid. Now, I can go there. I really can. But when I go there, I lose money. So that's what gets my attention. I've often said that if you want to hold on to resentments, that's okay. Just go withdraw a couple of $1,000s out of your bank account and just start throwing them away. How long do you want to be angry? How long do you want to feel like a victim? Because you're paying for it financially. If you don't have the level of money in your life that you want, it's because you're too full of some other energy that is pushing money away. If you're a victim, you don't get to have money. If you're angry, you don't get to have money. If you're resentful, you don't get to have money. You just don't get to have money, so you might as well take it out of your bank and at least turn it into a spiritual lesson and just like set it on fire. We had a prosperity class out in the cornfield before we moved here, and we burned money. The first night, we didn't have firewalks, we were burning money. And people would pull out a $100 bill and set it on fire and say, "You don't own me. You don't own me. I made you, and I can make you again." Wow. And a lot of people were pissed off. You know what you could have done with that money? It reminds me of Jesus and the apostles saying, "Oh, you could have taken that money instead of buying the oil and getting all duded up, and you could have fed the poor. You could have done so much with that money." No, the lessons from that money was priceless. So part of mine is that I'm going to see that and live that. Christy's leaving. If you haven't heard, Christy's leaving. Next Sunday's her last Sunday. We're going to throw a party. If you want to help with the party, Carol is in charge of the party. But that put me in a position of having to look at myself in the mirror and say, well, can I do this by myself? And I say, oh, yes. John's all president now. Christy's leaving. It's just you, Barbara. Okay. I'm good. I love this. I love it. So those are my action plans, Ben. And no, they don't have to make sense. Yes. What is your name?
Cindy.
Cindy.
So how does one get rid of the resentments and the anger?
I have a number of forgiveness books coming in the mail. They should have come today. 2 boxes.
Some came at the beginning of class upstairs, I'm not sure.
Good, the UPS person came. So one of the things that I do is look at, first of all, I picked my family. I probably came chasing Margaret. It's all your fault. But I picked my family, I picked my father, I picked my mother, and those circumstances that I have used in the past, just like John's statement last week, I no longer indulge in the debilitating act of feeling small and helpless, which I use as an excuse not to be my genius. And the perfect people to blame are ex-husbands, fathers, mothers, the economy, the school system, all of the things that did me wrong. And I look at that and go, wait a minute, Barbara, you picked that, you orchestrated that. I get this sense that right before I jumped into time and space, I grabbed somebody and said, right before, it could be eons, time is irrelevant out there, hey, I want to get my independence. And this being of light and love says, great, I'll be your mother and I'll completely ignore you all of your childhood. I'll lock you out of the house and I won't feed you. I'll force you to figure out how to get your needs met and how to rely on that so that no matter what happens in your life after that, I know I'm okay. Because I've already been through that and done that and I came out just fine. And so then I incarnate and they do these things. And then I get lost not realizing that this was an act of love to help me awaken to the spiritual magnificent being I am, and I get mad at them. And I stay small. So the first thing I do is take responsibility for it. I picked that person. I walked down that street. I completely ignored all of my intuition and I gave them my money. I did that. We had something go through the center a couple of years ago. I just found out about it a few weeks ago, where people invested tens of thousands of dollars in something because it was going to make a lot of money real fast. And the truth is that those people chose that. They did that. So there's a sense of responsibility that I have to take. And then to be able to see the perfection in that person. Boy, somebody who just knows me so well that they could dismantle me in a moment. Wow, thank you. That's artistry. That with one look, you can bring up all of my issues. Thank you. You know how much I paid therapists for that? It took months for them to be able to figure something out. Somebody can do it with just a look. Take responsibility of it. Start seeing the God in them. See the higher good in it. And let it go. Let it go. No one has ever done anything to you. And I know that when there's a lot of pain, it doesn't look that way. But there are no victims, only volunteers. And we all volunteered. We said, I'll go to planet Earth, I'll be a light bearer, and in order to do that, I have to not be unconscious. So what's it going to take for me to wake up? Is it going to take being raped? Is it going to take sexual abuse? Is it going to take physical abuse? Is it going to take just crazy people in my life? Is it going to take decades of drugs and alcohol? What's it going to take for me to wake up? I want to wake up. Then there's nothing to forgive. There's just nothing there. People say, oh, I've forgiven that person. Not if you're talking about it, you haven't. Not if it comes up again, you haven't. And if you're filled with that energy, money can't get in. So it just kind of stacks up around you. And the cool thing about that is as soon as you open up, it's right there. Comes pouring in. Good? Okay. So, the 13 steps towards riches. And I'm just going to go over these because we're going to go over them every week. They are the title to your chapters. This is not a complicated book. The first one is desire. That's the first step. And the second one is faith. And he says desire mixed with faith. So you've got to have the courage to be able to go ahead and want something. And then you've got to learn how to have the faith that you can have it. You know, life isn't capricious. It doesn't say, oh, Bill Gates can go change the world with his billions of dollars that he thought Warren Buffett had given him, but you can't. Life is not like that. Life gives to everyone evenly. Yes, this can happen for you. He says that faith is a state of mind that may be induced by self-suggestion. How do we suggest to ourselves? We talk to ourselves. We suggest, oh, it's going to be a bad day. Oh, it's going to rain. Oh, I don't know where the money's going to come from for that. Oh, the traffic's going to be awful. Oh my God, I think I put on 10 pounds. We suggest to ourselves all the time. And so what we do is we take control of that suggestion. And we are mindful about what we allow into our heads. And since it's really hard to stop telling yourself stupid things about yourself, like it's impossible and I can't and it'll never happen and I shouldn't even try anyway, what we do is we spend all of our time orchestrating positive thoughts into our head. That's why you get to say this treatment for prosperity 100 times a day. 100 times a day. So when you're taking a shower, you got it memorized and you're just talking away. I Barbara know that God is the source of all supply and when he's God in action. I know that my good is here now and he just goes. You know, like the monks they've got the mala beads and they run the mala beads and they do their prayers while they're having a conversation with you. They just run it nonstop. So what we've got is, this is my desire, and this is what I'm willing to do, and this is when I'm gonna have it, or earlier. And this is how my life is, and I have a right to live the life of my dreams. I have a right to go join the Peace Corps, because I've always wanted to, and I'm gonna do it. And nothing's gonna stop me, because God showed up as me. And I, Barbara, know that God is the source of all supply, money is God in action. You just take control of your thoughts. He says that the third step is autosuggestion. We're going to take control of our thoughts. And then specialized knowledge, imagination, decision, persistence, enthusiastic support. You're not going to be morbid here. This is great. This is the best thing that's ever happened. He's going to talk about the power of the mastermind, the power of mind. He's going to talk about the subconscious mind, the power of the brain, and the sixth sense. He also talks a lot about sex, so that's fun.
Now I'm gonna hit the book.
And he's got a self-confidence. He's got a self-confidence formula. So these are lists and formulas and plans and programs. Self-confidence formula. First, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. I know I can do this, and I'm not going to quit till I get it. You get to get it. You get to have it. Self-confidence, confidence in yourself. And then he goes on, and I'm not going to read all of this. Look up the self-confidence program in your book and check those out. I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action. So I'm going to take control of what's dominating me. You let dominating thoughts of being a victim show up, and then you complain about being a victim. How crazy is that? You don't want to be a victim? Stop thinking that anybody can hurt you, that anything can be taken from you. Remember, that which is yours you cannot lose, and that which is not yours you cannot keep. So if you lost it, it wasn't yours. And if it's yours, you can leave, you cannot lose it. I was at the putt-putt golf place with my grandchildren today, and I've got a wallet that kind of hangs on my wrist, but you can't really get a swing of a golf club with this wallet banging around on my wrist. So I would take it off and throw it down on the ground and go and play the whole. And these people consistently think, oh my God, there's a wallet, somebody lost their wallet. Oh, it's going to steal it. It's like, just leave it alone. It's mine. I know it's there. There may be $1,000 in there and countless. What did I just get? I was so proud of. I just got my Delta American Express card. And put $1,000 on it just like that and got 30,000 extra miles. Yay! Yay! That's great! I can fly anywhere I want in the U.S. with 30,000 miles, and I got it just like that. I just was walking down the Concord in Atlanta, and this lovely gentleman was saying, hey, do you want a Delta American Express? You don't have to pay for your bags with that. Sure, I'll fill out the paperwork. In less than 5 minutes, he said, okay, you're approved, and here's your paperwork, and you'll be, sure enough, a week later, I got this really cool gold card. So there's all kinds of stuff in that wallet, but I don't care because it's mine. Nobody can touch it. You can take a $100 bill and drop it in the middle of Lexington Avenue, downtown Asheville, and if it's yours, it will just stay there. It'll just stay there. Or you can have your car all locked up, and somebody can break in and steal your stuff because it wasn't yours. It wasn't yours because you were afraid. Yes?
Yesterday I was at a restaurant for lunch, and I walked out without this. And I was pulling out, and a lady came running out of the restaurant with it to bring it to me.
Right. John has an organizer. Those of you who know him, there's so much in that organizer. And I remember once when we were living in Miami and driving back and forth to Asheville, he put it on the top of his car and got on I-95 and took off. Well, it had all of his credit cards and all of his information and all of his money. I mean, we were going on a trip. And somebody tracked him down and mailed it to him, completely intact. Completely intact. It was great. That which is yours you cannot lose. So read your self-confidence formula, because money is attracted to people who are attracted to themselves. I just made that up. What's that? Money is attracted to people who are attracted to themselves. Because how can you turn against yourself and expect anything to be for you? You've got to be for you. You've got to have confidence in yourself. You've got to have something to work for, and you've got to have the willingness to actually do it. To get up in the morning and do it, whatever it is for you. Maybe you want to learn how to kayak. I mean, this doesn't have to be world-changing. Maybe you want to be healthier. Whatever it is. What is it that you want? And in the meantime, we will create money in this class. I guarantee every person in this class, and I have done this for 15 years, 16 years, that every person in this class will create increased income. That's what happened to you. You were on the second to the last class. John took you over to the side and said, what's going on with you? He had a little powwow with you and 3 other people. He did a treatment for you right then and there. And the next week you came in with this big black garbage bag. Had one of those giant checks in it. So, we're going to have money. We're going to get the life of our dreams. We're going to step up. We're going to let go of a lot of stuff that no longer serves us. And we're going to embrace a whole new us and a whole new world. Are you in?
Yes!
Good. Take out what you're going to give. When you write your checks, write them with the sense that there is so much money. You have so much money. You've got money coming in from the windows, from the ceiling, from the floor. Money is finding its way in your pockets. You're going to have money show up in your bank account. We had someone who left a job and got paid for almost a year from that same job and got a bonus a year later. They said, what do I do? I said, you say thank you. Seriously. Money can find you no matter what. So take out what you're going to give, and then we're going to get rowdy. Take out your increased income papers. You're going to put them in the basket. Oh, hell, let's get rowdy now. Are you ready to have more than you ever dreamed possible?
Yes!
Are you ready to put lots of zeros on everything?
Yes!
Are you ready to ride in style?
Yes!
Are you ready to have personal shoppers?
Yes!
Are you ready to eat the food you want to eat?
Yes!
Are you ready to go where you want to go?
Yes!
Are you willing to do the work to have it?
Yes!
Get up out of here, cheers.
I already know that God is the source of all supply, and that money is God in action. I know that my good is here now. I am so rich and so full that I have abundance of money to spare and to share, today and always. I know that true prosperity includes perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect happiness. This word which I speak in faith knowing now activates universal law, and I accept the results. I bless all that I have now, and I bless the increase. I bless all the others in the Think and Grow Rich program of our center, and I know that we now prosper together in every way. I give thanks for this good, and so it is.
So I know that you are coordinated enough to pass the baskets and handle your checks, because we're going to do it all over again. You might as well just get used to it. I, Barbara, know that God is the source of all supply,